prebiotics are better than probiotics. I'm going to tell you why in this video. First, let me say I'm not a medical doctor. I'm a holistic nutritionist. This is for educational and informational purposes only. So let me say, prebiotics, they are much, much better than probiotics, okay? I used to use probiotics in all my clients, and I realized, wow, you know, those lactobacillus probiotics aren't really safe for people who have chronic illnesses. Often people react to lactobacillus probiotics, and you're like, why are people reacting? Well, a lot of them produce histamine. A lot of them, you know, actually evoke an immune response within the body when they're put in. The only probiotics that are really worth it were the bifidobacterium. And unfortunately, the bifidobacterium, there's so few brands out there that are even high quality brands with this bifidobacterium that's like, well, geez, where do I get a high quality bifidobacterium? I used the Probiotic Bifido from Seeking Health. That was about the best, but then they changed formulation. It was a little bit different, but still it's a good product. It's the best one I know probiotic wise, but it's as far as I could go with people who have chronic illnesses because these probiotics were not tolerated across the masses, right? So I started working with prebiotics. I said, well, what about prebiotics, okay? And I started to look at different prebiotics like acacia, like arabinogalactin, like bee propolis, like even magnesium, plant-based magnesium, inulin, you know, these other ones, apple pectin, all these. I started looking at them and realized that, wow, all these actually modulate the mast cell response. And the mast cells are the most important thing that you must be aware of when you're healing from a chronic illness. The mast cells are the thing that calm the immune system down, they calm the inflammation down, or they ignite the inflammation, one or the other. It depends on what you are doing in your life, your diet, what you're around, environment-wise, your emotions, your stress, all those things. They all affect the mast cells, even the temperature, all that. So the reality is when the immune system senses a threat in whatever manner, it creates inflammation. That's what causes your symptoms, all of your symptoms. They all present themselves for the same reasons, okay? So the reality is prebiotics, what they do is they feed good bacteria in your gut. The good bacteria then produce beneficial byproducts that are like little microbial like waste, let's call it, but it helps the immune system to recognize that there's good bacteria in this gut and that everything is safe. So through something called the toll-like receptors in the gut, it recognizes these beneficial byproducts of these good bacteria. So when you put prebiotics in there, the good bacteria break down the prebiotics, they produce the beneficial byproducts. It tells the immune system to calm down, the mast cells to calm down. They send out messages all over the body, calm down, everything's fine, everything's fine. Probiotics is not the same, right? Probiotics you have to put in there, and then you got to put food in there for the probiotic to break down to produce the beneficial byproduct. If you're eating meat twice a day and you're not having enough fiber, you're not having enough good food for the good bacteria, then you're not going to have a lot of beneficial postbiotics, which are the most important. These beneficial byproducts of fermentation and food breakdown known as postbiotics. So the point is the prebiotics are the food for the probiotics. So if you're taking probiotics, you're wondering, why is this not working? I'm taking probiotics. They don't work. Well, it's either we're not eating enough plant-based foods to feed the good guys, or we're not taking prebiotics, which are supposed to feed the good guys. So prebiotics are the best. They're most critical by far. I'm going to talk about the rest of the reasons that they're better. Okay, the rest of the reasons. They feed a wide variety of bacteria, right? They're not just feeding, just the bifidobacterium or just the lactobacillus, right? They're feeding a wide variety of bacteria. This could be hundreds of different bacterial colonies that all help the immune system calm down and all give you, they all are important for proper immune health. They're for proper starch breakdown, proper protein breakdown, all that. So it feeds a wide variety of bacteria, right? Also, you could take a lot more prebiotics than you can probiotics, and they cost a lot less money, okay? So you could, for example, take 2 spoonfuls of acacia senegal when you could take, 1/8 of a spoonful of probiotics, right? And you'll be able to get them for a whole lot less money. You get a pound for $20 of acacia, and you could get 25 pills for $20 of the Probiotic Bifido, the Bifido product. So you're gonna get a lot more for your money on the prebiotics. You're gonna be able to put a lot more in there to start changing the gut microbiome, make it friendly to those prebiotic fibers, those polysaccharides, those phytonutrients, those things that are actually really going ahead and feeding the good guys. And you could do this on a consistent basis with prebiotics. You can go ahead and feed it one prebiotic early, one prebiotic later. You could have one day, you could have these prebiotics. The next day, you could have the next prebiotics. You could have multiple types of prebiotics to feed various varieties of these bacteria to create a diverse gut microbiome. The diversity is key for everything in your gut microbiome. So this is why probiotics are not as good as prebiotics. I gave you a few options in here. Look more at the rest of my videos if you want to have more tips about this. Go to my website, endsickness.org. I go over all the best prebiotics, the reasons why I use them versus the rest. And, thank you everybody for watching. Hope to see you again soon.